and I am recording this, so I will try to send it out to everyone. Um, so as you saw from my email, we have uh, a new deal with Regent. It is an exclusive offer for Expedia Cruises. And by Expedia Cruises, technically, I mean that means all Expedia Cruises offices. So why am I repeating myself? There we go. Um, so, but of course, the difference is that we actually know how to sell Regent, right? So, the other part that I find, hey, Veronica, the other part that I find very interesting of this is that we know that we will also qualify for the 250 per stateroom gift card that is combinable with this private sale. So I thought I would take a few minutes to quickly run the promotion through with you. And that way everyone can better understand it. I guess I'm going to preface this with saying those of you who have sold Regent before, you know that normally they include airfare. So we have drawn the airfare out, just like we did on the other two promotions for Sabraja and Cast. We've taken, or they have taken the airfare out. However, the good news is we have it still available. So, for example, the gentleman I just spoke with, when I told him that the airfare was business class round trip from Dallas for only $2,700, he said, "Are you kidding me?" He says, "I can't get coach for that at the moment." And so I think this is a great opportunity for us to be able to sell the Regent Air program as well as the deal. So I'm going to open the spreadsheet here real quickly, and I apologize. I closed it when I went to send out the reminder. Um, did everyone see a copy of the spreadsheet that I'm talking about?
Yes.
Who said no?
No, Maria said yes.
Okay. Well, I thought I heard a no. Okay. All right, let's open. Share screen.
While you're pulling that up, I want to make a comment though. It doesn't look like any of the suites are in it, right? It's just the regular cabins and the concierge.
Yes, you are completely accurate that there are no suites. And so a couple things as we run through, and that's a great question, so I'll answer that as well. So can everybody see the spreadsheet?
Yes.
And it's, let me see if I can make it just a little bit larger, even if we can't see the whole thing. So a couple things I wanted to make sure that everyone understands that each ship is identified at the bottom. There's different tabs. So MAR stands for Mariner. We have the Navigator, the Voyager, Explorer, Splendor, and even a Sailing on the Grandeur, which is the brand new one that I'll be going and seeing the lovely ship here very soon. Sorry, just making sure I'm opening here so that, oops, sorry, somebody pops in. Shoot. My apologies. There we go. Okay. So in looking at all of these different promotions or these different sailings, let's go back to the Mariner. She has the most of them. The discounts are listed here. This is the actual discount off of the cruise only published price. So you know how they have on their website, they have a fare including the air, the all-inclusive fare, and they now have the all-inclusive cruise fare. And they're using that terminology, the inclusive cruise fare, to identify the cruise only, which I don't know, I still find it a little bit confusing, but that's how they're saying it. So when I compared this, this is where the real savings are. And I'm going to show you that there's a couple of sailings here that are definitely worth noticing. Of course, the 17-day, some of these are 20%, 30%. Right now, because they're advertising so much of the 30% off, I'm not sure that you'll get a whole lot of bang out of that. But when you talk about some of these 45% off for example, this 16-day sailing from Miami to New York going out to Bermuda, um, is 16 days from 56.15. When you think of the fact that we were selling 7 days from 56.15, this is a steal on a Regent product.
How do you
Um,
find out the dates?
Right
okay,
there.
so in my email, what I had mentioned was that, so see where it says MAR? That's
Yeah,
the ship. The
Maria.
next two is the year, so the 24, so year of 24, and then it's month and day. So this is May
Okay.
17th of 24.
Okay.
And then notice how on the Mariner, it's only applicable categories D through H. Now, um, Gillette mentioned to me that there is a chance that they may have other categories available if you call. I tried going online to see if I could book it that way, and I did not see other categories. Now, when you go to the smaller ships, the Navigator, you'll notice that then it goes up to an A, but you don't get a whole lot of extra square footage out of an A. So really, again, it comes down to that it's the non-suite passengers. But I think we sold, when I see what we sold before that upgrade deal that made it crazy cheap, we sold an awful lot of the concierge level. And again, one of the most, hang on here, I'm trying to get to there we go. One of the most popular destinations right now is anything to do with New Zealand. And that one is here. And you'll notice that again, when we look at the date, it's a March 4th. So I know it's soon, but that's again an 18-day cruise, and that's at 50%.
Now, are
Right?
these prices the 50% price, right?
This is the discounted price
Right.
already. Correct. Um, and then of course, when you look at, in my opinion, value for the days, this Monte Carlo to Amsterdam sailing, this one is 12 days from 77. So, doing a little bit of homework, going through the ships and the dates, taking a look at them, I think is important. Um, there was another one here that I thought was really brilliant. Let me see if I can spot it really fast. Um,
The Rio to Lisbon, 18-day, right
oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18 days for 83. Yes, good spotting. And that's exactly what you have to do. You kind of have to go in here and look at them. And then, but at the same time, it's interesting to think that we have a 7-day cruise, right? That is going for 69.60. So there's a lot of different sailings in here. Now we have the Explorer coming to Alaska next year. And so there's a real deal date in here, the May 8th. So 36.50 for a 7-day in Alaska is a pretty darn good deal.
Mhm.
And how I looked at it too is you go up to the concierge, so it's going to include the day pre. Um, that one has when you get to the concierge level E and D, right? That's where you're going to get the extra hotel night included as well.
So it still
So
qualifies for that.
it does. So it'll still qualify for the hotel nights. It'll still qualify for the $250 gift card for you. It'll
Mm-hmm.
still qualify for, it does not qualify for any of those first time cruiser shipboard credits. It does not qualify with that, but you can add the air program. So the air program is available on most of these. Keep in mind, domestically, it's different than it's going to be internationally. The international air is where they do the business class really cheap. So again, this is Splendor, right? The second and newest ship out there. And there's again some really aggressive pricing. We have a lot of people who love these transatlantics, right? So for 14 days on the Splendor, um, it's pretty brilliant. Um, so so I want to make sure that everyone understands how to look at these. Now we are not allowed to say that it's a private sale where we get and put the prices out there. how we have to do it is we have to be a little tactical. So we're devising an email at the moment where we're going to call it the flash sale. And the flash sale will talk a little bit about the fact that Regent is an all-inclusive product. The shore excursions, the Wi-Fi, the drinks, the gratuities, everything on board is included. When you go concierge and above, you can get the complimentary hotel night, and the fact that for European sailings, they have the business class starting round trip for $2,700. So we're going to kind of play with those. But really, I'm pretty excited about the fact that we have so many sailings available to us, these great rates. So who to go after? I want you to think a lot about the passengers who are ready to move up. We've talked a lot about this, but when I present these, what I do is I go to the cruise line's website and I grab the brochure rate. So let me see if I still have it up here. Hang on, I've been playing with it quite a bit. So can you see the Regent site?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So when you scroll down to these, I go down to this and I say, well, right now they're advertising it as, $23,000 is the published fare. Right now, the least expensive fare that they show is $77.99. We have it now for 5,000 something, right? So showing that huge escalation on the flash sale. And this is only good through the month of November.
Okay, go back. So you see 7,799.
Yeah, it's a
So
brand new
this,
beach, Barcelona.
yeah, so hang on, I'm using a bad example because this is the what's it called? The cast one. Hang on, let me get another date that I can use. Let's go back to the covert site. So let's just choose a different one. So let's choose
Miami to
20%.
Barcelona.
The Miami to Barcelona. Okay. So that's going to be March 31st, right, on the Splendor. So let's go find the March 31st. Actually, I should have just clicked on Find a Cruise. March 31st, sorry. So date, we want March of next year.
You just
We
put
want,
April in. You just put April in.
actually, it automatically keeps doing that because it remembers that that's the last one that I did. Okay, there we go. March Splendor, right? View 4 cruises. So we have the one here. This is Miami. So don't click on the request pricing, click on the view itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, let it catch up with me here.
That was a nice picture there, that hole.
Oh, yeah, it's actually quite lovely, isn't it? The volcano.
Mhm.
Okay, so when we scroll all the way down, we have the veranda category H. So the cruise fare that they're showing, the cruise only. So this is where I'm saying, remember that this fare, where it says 2-for-1 all-inclusive fare, that includes air. But this one, the 2-for-1 inclusive cruise fare, does not include air. That's the difference between these two is the air credit,
1430.
right?
Yeah.
So, and because this one is a transatlantic, you're only going to get business class on the way over, right? So it could be domestic air is going to be economy.
Yeah.
So now when I look at the spreadsheet, so again, we have the March 31st sailing. So we have that same cruise from 6,032, right? So 6,032 versus theirs at 7,769. That's a huge savings, right? And again, we're talking about people who get excited about some tiny discount that we have. understanding how to use this when you're talking to people. Say, oh my gosh, so it started at 20,000 per person. This is the discounted fare. Their least expensive price right now is 77, and we have it for 6,029. So that's, $1,600 less than they do. But it's a private sale. And it's only good for the month of November. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And so this is how I've been using it, is making sure that I play with the website and I'm not afraid to show them the website, because that way they can see how much less that it is what we're offering. So I just wanted to run it quickly by all of you. What's included? Of course, they're going to you have to skip the air part, right? So skip that part, but it'd be easy. And what we're going to do in the email is include the free unlimited shore excursion, the beverages, including wines and spirits, the open bars and lounges. Plus, remember that they have the in-room mini bar, which is replenished daily, gratuities, the specialty restaurants, 24-hour room service. The transfers are only included if they use the Regent Air program and they don't deviate. Wi-Fi is now the new Starlink. They have loaded Starlink onto all their ships. This part is something that I think we forget to advertise, and it's a big deal. They have free valet laundry services now. So it's limited. I think it's 1 or 2 bags per week, but even that is still really nice. And of course, as you know, the concierge, they get the 1 night pre-cruise hotel, concierge and above. And then if they're in penthouses, they will get the free butler service.
I have a question about the butler. Do you have to request the butler? Because
No,
when you're making the reservation and they qualify for the butler, it says request, like, how you can request different things when you're making the reservation. There's a slot where you request the butler. So I'm like, okay, do I have to request the butler if they qualify for the butler?
No, you do not have to. As a matter of fact, you can't avoid them. They are delightfully subtle, but in your face, in the sense that they're constantly saying, "And how may I assist you?" and "What can I do for you?" and "Here, let me shine your shoes," and "Let me make you your restaurant reservations." Try to get you onto a shore excursion. The butlers do have a great deal of power on board. They really they run right there with the concierge as far as ability to make things happen. So I always encourage people, use your butler. Your butler has friends in the right places that can make things happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So does everyone understand this? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we're getting, of course, the opportunity here to have a huge discount on Regent. This is, yes, we will be sending out an email hopefully tomorrow. But the key here is you have to make sure that people understand the value of it. So if someone's been looking at a destination, Francis, I think of Mr. Hayes, who always keeps
Yeah,
nagging.
Yeah, he's booked a princess for next July to Alaska.
Right. So, but and again, it may be okay for him, but he may be ready to move up. He
Oh,
may
I
be
think
ready
he
to
is.
say,
Yeah.
I want this deal. And because it's a private deal, it's not one that he can go and get anywhere else. So I think that makes it even more fun for us. And of course, you get a gift card, which is much better
Yeah.
than what you'll get from Princess.
Yeah.
But
Headache
these
for
are people to
Princess.
think about, the people who are just, I have a few people that I'm thinking about who have been, Celebrity Oceania, but they're just kind of ready to try something, fewer passengers, better quality, overall, a different experience. And they're not looking for the entertainment, they're looking for the destination. And this is our opportunity. And when I saw those Asia itineraries, these are hot. These are popular right now. So I was very, very delighted. Questions, anyone? I know some of you have never sold Regent before, so you're welcome to ask me anything. Radio silence. Okay,
Okay, I have a question. This is Veronica.
sure, Veronica.
Okay, I never sold Regent before. If you could just please remind me, I've had people ask me about Regent and they say, isn't that just for um much older people, much more clientele?
No,
How would I answer that?
So you're going to find a really wide variety of guests. Now, if you go on any itinerary that has next to no flights, meaning like a Miami to San Francisco, your age group is going to go up dramatically. And that's actually true for just about any cruise line, is when you have those drive to ports, because that means you're eliminating all the people who can still fly really far. So the more exotic the itinerary, the younger age of the passenger. Also, you're going to find that the Regent passenger is a younger state of mind. So while they still may not be the youngest, because in order to afford the time and the cost to be able to go on these, it's not for kids. But at the same time, it is an interesting quality of product where think of your AMA cruise
Mhm.
of people who are still able to walk and hike and explore, yet they want to be in a casual environment with luxury service. That's what you're going to experience on board a Regent ship. One of the things that they tout the most, of course, is space. When you look at the square footage of all of these staterooms, the smallest one is in the high 200s. About 300 is the average. Most of them go far exceed 400 and 500 square feet for a suite. They're all suites. So it's a little bit different. So the age group, that's an interesting question. Yes, anytime that you're talking about a luxury product, you're going to have a slightly older group because again, they can afford it. But at the same time, they have a very wide age group because they do things a little differently. And I know some of that has to do with the fact that people who don't want to dress up. There's no formal nights. It's resort wear all the time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have a
Fred, good
question. KK,
Yes.
Margaret, hi. Sorry, I joined late. I wound up with a call. So I have a couple of clients that could possibly do Regent. In particular, the ones I'm thinking about cannot fly right now. One is handicapped and not quite ready to handle that. He's new to being in a wheelchair, and the other can't because of balance issues that she's contending with. But they both are in the price category. They both live in California. So the question is, are there any out of California out of California, anywhere, any port out of California?
So, so for example, this one I have highlighted on the screen at the moment is the Miami San Francisco, right? So yes, it would be a one way to get to Miami, but that means that they would be cruising home. So you're not going to have anything round trip from California. That won't happen. But the nice thing is with many of our guests who are in that position, they can usually fly one way in order to have some kind of a special experience. And, you know, when you think about it, Regent normally has an entry level price of at least $1,000 a day. That's kind of a good starting point for Regent. And so for 17 days to come in at 12, that's a big deal. You know, the other thing is some people feel comfortable about embarking here, but maybe flying home. You know, Papeete is a little bit farther. It's, you know, what is it that they say? It's one movie past Hawaii. But again, the fact that they can embark here is an opportunity. So there are some interesting ones, but no round trip San Francisco's.
Thank you.
No, it's a good question.
And
Other
Regent,
questions?
Regent per se doesn't usually do round trip any city. They always do one city to another.
Yeah,
there is a
it's-
round trip Vancouver,
Mm.
14 night in
Yeah.
August.
Yeah, I
Oh.
saw that one.
You know, you can get to Vancouver
There it
on a
is.
train.
Oh, that is, and where would it go?
It's
Alaska.
Alaska.
It's a
Alaska.
14-day Alaska, and it's actually a brilliant itinerary.
There's a
Um,
couple of them there too.
and I would
Okay.
tell you that um, having worked with a lot of people in wheelchairs, I have found that they are much more comfortable with a short flight than they are with a train trip. The train trip is long. It's a full day and a half up and a day and a half back, whereas they can actually fly there very comfortably to Vancouver in a short period of time. And wheelchair passengers, of course, are taken very well care of on domestic aircraft. So actually love that idea. Good idea, Francis. That's
Thank
a
you.
great sailing.
Thank you all for that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
And
Uh,
even the one that's one way, Vancouver Seward, I mean, that's Anchorage, so it's the same more or less. It'd be easy to fly home from Seward. It's a short flight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, I would challenge that a little bit just because I've had to help with that, and they have to get from Seward. So if the transferred in Seward, whether it be the motor coach or the rail, and then they have to go all the way to Anchorage, and then they take the flight home from Anchorage. And the
Right.
flight home from Anchorage is almost that's like flying the East Coast.
It's always a night flight too, usually.
Yeah, it's a tough one compared to Vancouver. I would definitely take the Vancouver if I had the option.
One more
Yeah.
question. You mentioned if the guests aren't that interested in the nightlife. So coming in late to this or very unfamiliar with Regent myself, are are we to say that Regent doesn't do a lot in the evening as far as entertainment?
No, they actually have a lovely entertainment program. I was really thrilled with my last cruise. They have, because they're part of the Norwegian holding family, they have mini shows. So it's not the huge big Broadway show that you're going to find in Norwegian, but they do small troops of it, and they did a great job. Now, you will find it's going to be very different on the Voyager and the Navigator on the smaller ships. But boy, you get on board the Mariner, the Explorer, Splendor, or Grandeur, and they have a proper theater. They have great entertainment in the evenings. Again, it's not big entertainment, but it's entertainment of quality. And then they'll have usually at least 1 to 2 acts. So it's going to be, um, a little show maybe 3 times a week, and then it'll be a vocalist on the other nights or a comedian or so there's always something going on. And then on the newer ships, again, they have the Culinary Arts Center. They have some of the best lecturers afloat. So if someone is really into learning, which we really find that a lot of the people, the passengers, the Regent passengers they're into learning and education. You will find that their lecturers are absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
So there is a good amount going on. And again, they're very good at, um, the ships are smaller, but they're super well appointed, and there is space. There's just the whole concept of more space. The hallways are wider. There's more open space for everyone everywhere. This is it's a luxury that people are looking for today is a little bit more space.
Okay.
The food is great. They have a great culinary team. Their specialty restaurants are included. They have a good variety. And again, you're doing all of this on ships that are really small, especially in today's world.
So coming into this late, what you were just describing the 7,000 versus the 6,000 when I entered the meeting, when you mentioned 50% off, I see that in that lineup was 30% off, 40% off. There were some that were 50% off. Can you, I don't know, I don't want to waste anybody else's time, but can you explain what the pricing was, and is it across the board pricing when you explain what you're going to explain to me?
So, when you're assisting a guest, it is important that you represent the value well. And so how I was sharing this was, for example, we had chosen the transatlantic sailing, just randomly, we were choosing different sailings. And on their website, hopefully you can see their website up on the screen now.
Yes.
This shows the published fare, right? 20,998. There is a 2-for-1 inclusive fare. This fare includes air. The 2-for-1 all-inclusive cruise fare is cruise only. And you'll notice that their lead-in price, the best rate you can get with their specials at the moment is $77.69. When we now go to our grid, and let's see, this was on the Splendor, and this was the March 31st. Our lead-in rate is $6,032. So we're $1,600 per person less than their best fare online.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So every sailing has a different percentage off, right? As you can see from all the ones. I think where you need to do some really looking to catch some splash, if you know a person who just loves a deal, right? There are people who, luxury passengers, who just love a good deal. And so what you have to sometimes do is do a comparison. So for example, Lisa was pointing out that the Rio to Miami sailing, right? That's 18 days for $9,000, right? So normally this would be at least 18,000 based on their $1,000 per day. This is 99.60. That's a deal, right? Especially when you compare it to some of the other sailings. But there is a 21-day Miami to Barcelona for $10,000. Again, all of these there's some really good representations of values here. I think we were on the trying to remember where we were. We found the real good deal. There's a couple of them.
Barcelona to Athens there, that 8-10 day. 50%.
Oh, this one? Oh no.
No, that
Barcelona.
one right there.
Oh, Barcelona to
It's
Athens.
50%. Yeah.
For a 10-day, again, $7,300. That's a great value, right? So you have to kind of look at these and find ones that have exceptional values across. Again, 12-night from Monte Carlo to Amsterdam for $7,000. That's a 12-day for $7,000. That's a huge value. You have to remember these are balcony suites, right? It's suite level. So when you think of maybe even a celebrity or a princess or something, and you go into their mini suites, you're now right there at that same pricing. And there's no way in heck that you're going to get $3,000 round trip airfare business class out of a celebrity or a princess or somebody like that. And the fact that it includes all their shore excursions, it includes all the beverages, the Wi-Fi, the gratuities. It's such a tremendous value. And I guess this is the key. The overall experience is going to be elevated, right? So you may find something that's in the same price point, but the experience that they will have with Regent will be elevated because it's, when we do sometimes the side-by-side comparisons, you've seen Gillette do these where she'll say, okay, Celebrity or Holland America or somebody has this price point, but all of these other things are added on. So you're going to have to calculate how much the shore excursions would be every day, right? Calculate the beverage package, calculate the Wi-Fi, calculate all of these things because all of those all have a cost to them. And then you realize that Regent has them all included, and yet they get the elevated experience, and it takes away the nickel and diming. One of the things that struck me when we sailed with Oceania was even though I had the beverage package, even though I had prepaid gratuities, I had to constantly hand out my card. It reminded me of the all the time, right? Every time I turned around, I was still handing out my cruise card. They don't even ask for your cruise card on Regent. Why? It's included for everybody. So it just changes the experience.
And then I was
Sorry.
going to say, I looked it up. I was on the Explorer in the least expensive room. And not only was the square footage huge, I had a walk-in closet And I had the little seating area with the couch and the TV, right? Like a mini suite on Princess.
Ooh.
And it was better. It was huge room.
And
And
then
that
the
was the
bathrooms have
cheapest
double
room.
sinks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. And a tub and a shower.
Lisa, was
Yeah.
that a TA rate?
Pardon?
Was that a TA rate?
That was actually on a free cruise in 2021 when they were trying to get people back on the ship.
Okay.
But and to answer your question about the and it was a Miami round trip with they had given it out to Miami or Florida people as a cheap fare because it was Miami, and we only did 7 days of it, but it was a 21-day cruise and Miami round trip. And so there were a lot of older people on that one, but there were also a lot of younger people, younger than I expected to see.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I found it was a younger attitude, I think, more
Yeah.
than just age. So I'm always delighted that, I'm not a spring chicken, but we are generally, on the younger side when it comes to cruising. And I found lots of people in our age group. And especially we were doing some of the more active tours. So we got to know a lot of those people and we ended up saying, hey, you want to meet for drinks tonight or, you want to have dinner. And again, it's all inclusive. So people tend to be very social and
Mhm.
quite delightful, but very non-pretentious. That was the other part that I really enjoyed was the fact that they were educated, interesting people, but they're very non-pretentious. Nobody's busy showing off who's who. It's very different than some of the other lines that, if you're not wearing the right brand, yeah, they kind of look at you differently.
KK,
Good.
this
Yes.
particular sale, I thought I read or you said in the past that it didn't include air.
It does not include air,
Okay.
but the air is available to you. So when you look at their website, if you want to do, if you don't want to call them, it's really easy to calculate the difference between, now in this case, we're doing a transatlantic, so there's only the business class one way. But the difference between the inclusive fare and the cruise fare, the difference between these two columns is always whatever the air add-on is.
Oh,
So in most cases, their business class air is anywhere from 27 to, I think their highest that I saw was 35. And that means that it's round trip business class. And then, of
wow.
course, for anyone who, one of the things that we play with, anyone who is looking for that business class, I always encourage you to add an extra $175 to that. Why? Because that's what it costs to deviate the air. And I find that I always deviate the air. And the reason I do is not always necessarily just to come in early or late, but it's because my guests always want to choose their flights and they can choose them 210 days out.
Mhm.
But you have to know that when you're doing that, you have to ask for flights that have no air differential.
And sometimes though you can't get seats because that's my case right now.
Yeah, well, and if it's close in, it's a little bit difficult. I know I've been having a hard time for the April sailing, because of the fact that the flights are just really full.
Well, I know, but my Gus did custom air for Spraja, and they can't get seats because it's not ticketed.
Oh, interesting. Which carrier?
Turkish Air in this case
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's a nonstop to Istanbul,
yeah.
and Turkish
So,
won't do the seats even for business class until they've ticketed, and they won't ticket until I can't remember what she said, 60 or 70 days or something before.
you can request early ticketing.
It's very hard to do, though. I called about that, and but the guests decided not to do that, so
Okay,
they're
because
gonna wait.
they can. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a procedure to it, but they certainly can request early ticketing if that's what they want. It changes their penalties, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lisa and KK, if they were to do, if they were to deviate, number one, it's 175 per person or total for the couple?
Per person.
And so if they want to customize their air, would that be only within what Regent contracts with the airlines they contract with? Okay,
Yeah, and most of the carriers are quite good. In this particular case, the guests were looking for the nonstop. Most European destinations have a change of plane. One of the keys that you would always want to remember is when dealing with either Oceania or Regent, in this case Regent, you want to help them to choose a flight that goes international right away. So San Francisco, London, San Francisco, Paris, San Francisco, Frankfurt, and then a change of planes over there. Why? Because that way you get the flatbeds all the way from the beginning. Because if you take a flight that goes San Francisco, JFK, JFK to Paris, or San Francisco, Paris, San Francisco, JFK, JFK to Rome, that domestic flight may be in coach.
hmm hmm and that can't be, that's not debatable with the contracted air. Okay, great.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, they only guarantee business class on the international segments.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, no, great questions. So, any other questions, guys? I didn't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to quickly make sure before this email goes out to everybody um, that we are thinking about this. I'm going to make sure that Giancarlo forwards you the email itself so that because what we'll do is we have to send this out via vertical response. So we have a short list. So I can't guarantee that all of your passengers will receive it. So as such, I'd like to encourage you to forward it directly to anyone saying, I don't know if you saw this, I don't know if you received this, but this is a private sale that we are having, and I thought of you. Um, the prices are just unbelievable for a really great quality luxury product.
Now, let me go back to the suites though. So
Mhm.
those are all obviously listed, just the regular cabins. If they wanted suites,
They're all suites.
well, yeah, but
The larger or named suites are not included.
right, but there's no chance of getting any discount on those.
Not that I've seen so far,
Okay.
no.
That's what I was trying to find out.
And I think they're trying to maintain some I wanted to say dignity with the pricing of the suites. They included them for our Sabraja promotion, but even that that caught Paulina off guard because she said it had not been included in any of the other private sale offers. All right, any other questions? As they come up, please feel free to reach out to me. I am very eager to have everyone find success with this. I want to reiterate again, any bookings booked and deposited by November 30th will qualify for the $250 per stateroom gift card that comes directly to you, usually comes about 30 days prior to sailing. So we're very excited about that, and it's makes it extra worth your time to pick up the phone and reach out to somebody. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time, guys, today. I know that this is a busy week, and hang on while I stop the recording really quick.